It looks like the liars are lying and hiding, and they are going all the way, all the way, even on the stand, lying to the FBI, even Jen McCabe in the Karen Reed trial. And did you know that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have done this before? Yep. They have gone all the way to lie in police reports about their experience, their truth about what they believe uh, a man has done, in their eyes to harass them, to make their lives a living torture and a living hell. Because they believe that they are on a different level than just your average person. What are these people hiding? It is like to be studied. This, the different kinds of people out there. It is wild, wild to see people like Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Jen McCabe. At this point, we got to throw Jax Taylor in the mix. Who else are we throwing? Nick Vile. So many people. Let's throw them all together in a little aquarium and watch them and just watch them. Like, let's study them. How to get away with murder. All on today's episode, special Hump Day episode of Daily Dose of the Lion Liars. It's your Daily Dose of Donna. I wonder if you can go to school for this. Like, how to go to school for being such a good liar. I mean, I get Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, they went to school for acting. So I guess to be an actor, where did Jen McCabe come off? She's not a very good liar, though. I can tell you that. I can see right through that girl, right through it. I'll show you some clips that I got of her from this morning's cross examination. I told you I woke up early today. I said, like in Frozen, it's Coronation Day, or like Brittany Bateman on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She goes, I have an announcement. I woke up this morning and I said, it's Jen McCabe cross examination day. Yes, I am literally eating, breathing, sleeping the Karen Reed trial. I am in the TikTok scroll hole of it. I can't get enough. And then yesterday, after I finished watching the trial live, I watched it live on Law, and I feel like I'm watching it on Law and Crime or forget. I like watching it live, like without the YouTubers, point of reference. And then I go back and I watch a little bit of, Emily Baker or Lawyer, or whoever I like to watch. It depends on the day. I'll hear what they have to say about the day's events. And then yesterday I recorded for Patreon and members only, I recorded about a 30-minute episode. It's like a refresher. So anyone here that is interested in learning about the Karen Reed trial and wants to jump on board, because we have about a 7-week, 8-week trial, most likely. So get ready. So if you want to jump on board your new obsession, your new hyperfixation, hashtag ADHD, welcome. Jump on board. You can join my Patreon or you can join the members only, and you can watch my videos or listen, and I will be updating you guys. But I gave you guys a 30-minute refresher, as much of detail as I could, but in a really short way, because I know it's overwhelming. But today's witness is the biggest one. So in a few minutes, I'm going to give you more of an update on what is going on today and how we were already catching her in so many lies. So many lies. Okay. And if you guys are into it, and I see a lot of people are, then I will definitely do daily members only or Patreon recaps. So just show me through your subscriptions if you're into it. Now, speaking of, before I get into this crazy story that Without a Crystal Ball found, crazy story about Blake and Ryan almost sending a paparazzo to prison. What? I'm telling you, between her and Elsrich Fafo, it's a really, like, they're I don't know how they find these things. I want to remind you guys that tomorrow morning, Dosers Live is officially on sale. Now, I have anxiety. Okay. It's my anxiety. What's the song? It's my anxiety. Ooh, ooh, you know the TikTok song? I have anxiety. I have anxiety. I am nervous. I am anxious. It's like sending out invites to my bat mitzvah. I hope people want to come. It's my first time throwing a Dosers event, like a live event. Tickets will be on sale tomorrow morning. The ticket link will be live tomorrow, but you can get on the list to get emailed the link immediately if you sign up below. So it's dailydosepod.com/dosers live. That is your homework. Get on the list. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Get on the list right here. You'll get emailed the link tomorrow because we have a limited amount of tickets. We are planning. It will be fun. But most importantly, you will get to dance with me. And that will be a party. And that sounds like I'm going to dance for you, but we're going to dance together. We're going to have so much fun. Robin is asking, what time will they be on sale? I think I'll put them out like early morning East LA time, like maybe 6 a.m. LA time or some 7 a.m. LA time. So just imagine like 9 a.m. East Coast time or something like that. I'm going to think about like a perfect time. I don't know. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous, but I hope you guys get to come. It's going to be in August here in Los Angeles. And then we can plan like really fun things for you guys to do here in LA. Like go, go see Jax's Empty Bar. Yeah. Or something about her, which I heard. I saw a TikTok yesterday. And then all the comments said something about her is dead, which by the way, and I'm very, 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 very concerned about this. Because I still have not gone to something about her and I live in LA. But there's something about a sandwich shop that just doesn't jump out at me. I don't love a sandwich. I don't go out of my way for sandwiches. I'm not a go out to lunch person. I'm a dinner person, and I don't go over the hill for sandwiches. Like it's just not something I wouldn't do that for any sandwich, not just something about her. So I've never done a something about her jaunt. So I'm part of the problem. But no, I've never done that. Oh, I'm going to go on a tangent. I don't want to go on a tangent, but I did watch another Maureen Callahan Nerve episode yesterday where she did talk about meeting Ariana and Lisa Vanderpump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner 2 years ago when Scandival was all the rage. Did you guys watch that episode? Oh, man. Oh, man. She was talking it up about Ariana, and it wasn't a good one. And she says exactly what's on her mind. She says exactly what's on her mind. And it wasn't very nice. I'm not going to lie. She said Ariana was not very nice. It didn't make me feel very good for Ariana, but I've met Ariana. I have met Ariana Maddox on Dancing with the Stars because Lance worked on Dancing with the Stars. He works on that show. And I met her and she was nothing but kind. And Lance said she was nothing but kind. So I have nothing but positive things to say about Ariana. He did say that season of Dancing with the Stars, Allison Hannigan, is that her name? Allison Hannigan. Bandcamp, American Pie, she was the best. He said she was the nicest that entire season. So we'll go with that. Okay, let's move on. We have so much to talk about. I just could talk about this forever. My friend Eliza Rosen, shout out. She always texts me. She goes, I got a shout out. She sent me a text last night and she goes, you should play this on your show. It's a Jon Hamm, Kathy Griffin moment. And I would be like interested. Are you guys interested in hearing about another bad Jon Hamm story, or are we not interested in hearing this? I don't know if you guys are open or not interested in it. So Jon Hamm, Kathy Griffin wrote a book called Celebrity Run-Ins, and it was in 2016. And Jon Hamm seems to get away with everything these days. Jon Hamm can just do as he pleases. As we know, he beats the shit out of people in college. No problem. Good. We move right past it. Move right past it. No problem. Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. Now, I hear the show is good. I do. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's good. But Jon Hamm, I will always know him as the guy that almost like killed a kid in college and then called it a bummer. However, Kathy Griffin wrote about her experience with Jon Hamm in this book. Let's listen to it together. It's an audiobook and it's on YouTube. It's like a 10-year-old book. Let's just like hear this part together. I may have to speed it up a little bit. Let's listen.
Bringing audience members on stage to sing with him. I said, Jesus, Grobes, how bad has it gotten? You're on tour, but the pickings are so slim that you got to screw some poor chick in the crowd who maybe can't even sing the prayer. All right, so I'm busting him pretty hard, and he's, of course, taking it like a champ. So he looks at me without skipping a beat, and he goes, look, honey, this cock isn't going to suck itself. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Groban.
No, wrong moment. Here we go.
Hamm, John. Actor, nemesis. You'll never convince me to like Jon Hamm. I admit it, he was great on Mad Men and deserved the Emmy that they finally gave him on his last season. But that's it. And I get that this makes me the loner. I know it, that she stands alone. Pretty much in any group I've ever been in, when I start bitching about Hammy, people act as if I've just strangled Jesus or Jesus' puppy. But I've known him since before Mad Men. See, he's bros with some of the comedy guys I know, and I have to say the vibe I've always gotten from him is cold, kind of disrespectful in general, in particular towards me. But you know what? I'm suggesting he's one of those hot guys who's like mildly funny, but actually thinks he's comedian level funny. You know the type. There's probably one in your office or your family. He just like reeks of that. It's like a little bit of an entitled air. So when Hammy wants to be funny, he's, well, not. And again, I'm not saying he hasn't been good in his comedy appearances on 30 Rock and stuff, but in my experience, the harder he tries to be funny, the more he's not funny to me. Case in point, a dinner at the legendary talent agent Sue Menger's house, in which I was privileged to be invited. It was, I think, only 8 people there, and one of them was the great Jack Nicholson. So when Hammy showed up, I swear to God, inside I was like, oh, great. He even says to me, he goes, what are you doing here? I go, I earned my seat at the table. What are you doing here? All right. So he was still in hair and makeup. He had just come from the set of Mad Men, and he was directing the episode as well as acting in it. And yeah, I know he's talented, blah, blah. Anyway,
And
he
hot.
proceeded to get very drunk during the coffee table portion.
He has a drinking
and
problem.
Then it was time for dinner. Sue sat Hammy next to me, which was uncomfortable, but I wasn't going to bother her. But at least Jack Nicholson was there. And I could focus on hopefully getting to know one of the great actors of our time. Then Jack, who usually directs whatever he's saying to seemingly like the world at large, he actually focused on me. And he went off on this tangent about Rupert Murdoch almost getting a pie in the face during a parliamentary hearing in England. You can look up the clip. Anyway, I was asking Jack about why he was so interested in this, and he started doing an imitation of Murdoch, the right-wing media mogul, and I was in heaven. And then Hammy picks that moment when Jack Nicholson is talking to me to start whispering like boozy, stupid, yammering attempts at jokes in my ear. So the first one was, your Emmy isn't a real Emmy. I was like, whatever. So I kind of just ignored him. Then the next one, he just goes, you're so old. I just swear to God, I said out of the side of my mouth, I go, not now. And then he kept going. Stuff like, do you know how old you look? Finally, I just fucking snap. I just turn, I go, look, you can't keep up. You're outclassed. Zip it. Jack's talking. I laid down the law. Nicholson kind of noticed, by the way, which was really funny. He said this funny thing I'll never forget, because every so often I would sass back at one of those dinners. And one time Nicholson goes, wow, you got balls. I've been at these dinners before where it doesn't work out for the person. Which I thought was funny. All right. But the impression I got from Hammy was, it was almost as if he was thinking like, I'm not going to let her have this moment. And I'll never forgive him for stealing a moment with Jack Nicholson from me. And look, I've been told I'm too old and not funny by lots of people, including hot guys. But, don't do it when I'm in an intimate conversation with frickin' Jack Nicholson. An opportunity I figured I'd probably never get again.
Wow.
And that's probably the real reason I can't stand Hammy.
You know what's so funny? Okay, so by the way, I'm not a huge Kathy Griffin fan anymore. I have to be 100% real with you guys. She's really kind of like left my love. I used to love her. This was in 2015-16 that she wrote this book. I was obsessed with My Life on the D List. That reality show was like everything to me when she was on that show. This was before her kind of, I feel she really did have like a fall from grace, obviously, with everything that went down and her drama with Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen was such an asshole about her. Let's be real, he really was. But I struggle a little bit with her now, but I loved her back then. But for her to talk about Jon Hamm in 2016, 15, she wrote that book probably before any of this, like when he was still at the height of his career, she didn't give a flying F about talking badly about him. I will forever love that about her. I like people that aren't scared about talking about celebrities in every way, which is what brings me to this next story. Let's expose Blake and Ryan for who they are. Now, before I do that, I want to explain to you guys what triggered me this morning. Every day, we're going to do a little segment of my show called What Triggered Donna Bowling. And today, it's going to be about Not Skinny But Not Fat. What's a bummer for me about Not Skinny But Not Fat is that I truly, really enjoy Amanda Hirsch because I love a Jewish queen and she is a Jewish podcaster. And for that, I always appreciate someone that speaks up for the Jews. And she is a popular podcaster and she's had some really great interviews. But she is a Ryan Reynolds stan. And we have talked about this before. She loves Blake Lively. She is a team Blaker and she will never, ever, ever see anything but that. For what reason? I don't know. Has she actually read the documents and the litigations and the legalities and I don't know. She always will take Blake's side. She also loves Ryan Reynolds. We've said that. He's been on her show and she has his Instagram reel pinned to the top of her almost 1 million followers Instagram page. So we clearly have a side. She's like a Nick Viall. Now, she had Simon Huck on her show as he's a publicist. She had him on her show. Is he a publicist? I feel like he is. He was like big in the Kardashian era. I guess I didn't watch the episode, but I guess they speak about the Blake Lively disaster. And this is the clip that she decides to clip and put on her Instagram feed, obviously knowing that it's going to upset all of us because you don't post about Blake in a pro Blake way unless you want to, anger a lot of us. That's how I feel. And this is what she posted. And I couldn't help but wonder how Carrie Bradshaw of me. I couldn't help but wonder why. Why do you post these things unless you want to argue with your audience? And argue with me, she did. Well, it was a one-way argument. I mean, she didn't respond. And like I said, I like her. We've DM'd many times. I really like her. So it's a real angering upsetting experience for me to see why she and a lot of the other pro Blake people feel like it comes down to this. Watch this reel for yourself.
In my life would I've ever thought that the world would come crashing down on Blake, choose to see the worst, fucking killer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect storm of so many different things. And a generation on TikTok who are basically private investigators.
Literally.
So they're really deconstructing lawsuits in a way. I mean, can you imagine people looking at like 180 pages of like litigation and then being able to craft a 2-minute video summarizing that? Like, that's the era that we live in. So
it's a scary era.
Yeah.
But maybe I wonder, because a lot of people say that like canceling is over and stuff, but then you're like, it's not like canceling. I think there are two parts to this. It's like there's canceling for reals, where you can't get a job, and no studio would work with you. No one would hire you.
Which is not happening there.
Which is not happening.
Yeah.
And there's online canceling, which is like everybody hates you.
Right.
Never.
Okay. So the hill that she's choosing to die on about this case is, why is Blake getting taken down here? What bothers me, and I think what bothers so many people, is that why are we not recognizing that she is trying to take down Justin? And that's why We're not on the side of canceling. We're not on the side of taking her down. We're on the side of truth. Now, my comment reads, I think the fact that we are looking at the way more than 180 pages of litigation, facts and evidence, and coming to conclusions based on that is very different than just being flippant and saying cancel her because of one comment she made on a red carpet. If what she is claiming against Justin Baldoni is in fact not true, and she ruined a man's life and career, that is not a small thing at all, and she should not be continued to be propped up. If someone tried to ruin you this way, Amanda, I would imagine you would want the internet on the side of the truth as well. See, it's easy to say, why is everyone against Blake? It's not fair. But if a guy or a woman went out and sued Amanda Hirsch or any of us or any public figure for something this devastating, which women don't have to struggle with that much because it's only against men that the words sexual harassment, sexual assault, sexual because that's really the thing that can take you down this much. Women, what can be taken? I mean, I guess women can be sued for sexual assault, sexual harassment, but it's usually against the men that can really, and that is the kiss of death. Everything else, like women can be sued for toxic workplace, bad behavior, etc. But it's not ever as damaging as a man getting a charge of sexual something or other. The point is that if she ever got sued for something this damaging that could really honestly have her William Morris, who she signed with, WME is signed her just recently last month, would drop her. She lost her podcast. Her podcast partner, which she doesn't have, dropped her and then took her accuser's side publicly. And then she had to be basically MIA and like go off. And then her accuser was in the front lines of everything on every red carpet. I bet she would want all of these internet cancelers to go after the truth as well. That's the thing. It's very easy to say like, oh my God, they're just canceling. Wouldn't you want us on your side too? If you were being accused of something you didn't do, I would. Please be on the side of truth. If I was being accused of something I didn't do, please do. I want you guys to fight for me if I ever get accused of something I didn't do. Fight for me. Read the documents, right? So that's the first thing that bothered me. And then this comment, and this is by a woman, Kate Arthur. Kate Arthur she is someone that I don't even want to like go and smear her, but she is the editor-in-chief at Variety magazine. Okay? I think she's the editor-in-chief. She's a top dog at Variety magazine. She's gone after a couple of my friends who are in this industry, this podcasting world, on Threads, mostly Threads, because that's where they live. And she is clearly a pro Blake person. I don't know what the deal is, but if you can just kind of imagine, can you imagine? That's her vibe. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to like assume why or what, but you can just assume. Very Hollywood. You know what I mean? Yeah. So her comment on this reel is
Never in my
women can still be dragged to hell. That's for sure. Which has never bothered me more ever in my entire life than when it comes to this Blake Lively shit. I can't handle it. I cannot handle the woman, this is against women comment. Guys, when we start limiting this to, oh my God, it's against a woman, we have lost the plot. It's so ridiculous. You have nothing else. You have nothing else. Okay, just go work at Glamour. Just go work at Glamour with that other ridiculous, woman who called us mommy sleuths. You have nothing else to go with. Just the fact that she has a vagina, I guess. Way to minimize any of her claims just because she's a woman. I'm sorry. Have you not seen the way I drag Jax Taylor? I drag men left and right on this show. I can't stand men that are assholes. Stop making it look like we hate women. People like her, this Kate Arthur woman, make people divide society. They divide society. They make misogyny a thing. I'm convinced. They create misogyny. I mean, that may be like a little bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean? It's like creating a misogynistic society by saying it's because of you guys. You hate women. That's not true. In fact, I'm fighting my ass off for Karen Reed in my comments and in my content. I'm fighting for a woman, for a woman's innocence. How about let's fight for the truth? Are we really fighting for a woman, Kate? Or are you fighting for a rich celebrity? That's my question. It bothered me beyond belief. I am so over that argument. Enough. Don't bullshit us. Good for Gabby on Summer House, who, because we don't see this that often anymore, I swear. I feel like it's becoming less and less popular to be loud and proud about the fact that you are, pro Justin Baldoni. I feel like now it's starting to be this like weird thing where people are getting nervous to talk about that you're anti-Blake because they're flooding the zone, as Ashley Brianna Eve has so smartly, as a marketing tool, has said this, they're flooding the zone of press. They're everywhere you look. Do you notice that? They're everywhere you look. They're out at now Hugh Jackman's play. They're out at the red carpets. I've never seen so many damn premieres for an Amazon movie. What? Amazon? Who's footing this bill? Who is footing all these premieres? I've never seen Amazon do one premiere. All of a sudden there's 4,000 premieres for Amazon. It seems sus. And then yesterday on all these food blogger accounts, I follow food bloggers. I love a food blogger. One of my favorite Jewish food bloggers is all of a sudden making pasta with Blake Lively. I was like, wait, what? Please do not. This is not a colliding worlds that I want. Oh, it's everywhere I look. Everywhere I look. Name the show. It's literally everywhere I look is a simple favor, another simple favor. Give me a simple favor and get the hell out of my face, right? Do me a favor, Blake. Do me a favor. So it's literally everywhere I look, but I was really proud of, Gabby. I did see Gabby from Summer House say, and now I can't find it, of course, but she did say that that she thinks that Blake is I have to find it. Where is it? I have to find now. I did just see, I'm looking on page 6's reels, but I did just see this one photo of them last night going to Hugh Jackman's play. And it says Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds go out with her outfit honestly, don't wear it, guys. It looks like a muffin tin. I don't even know. I have no idea what she's wearing. It can't be comfortable. It's got to make sounds. It's got to sweat in places that you cannot wear. I don't understand what she's wearing, but my comment to this was no. I just was so annoyed this morning when I saw it. I just wrote no. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. No. I've given up. Her PR team works harder than the devil. That's what someone said. No. Now, apparently, Ryan Reynolds also was posting about this. Let's check it out. I can't wait for the day that Vanzetti Reynolds blocks me. It's going to happen. Did he post about it? I heard he posted about this. Oh, of course, he definitely has to post about a charity because that's what he does, right? He has to always throw in a charity. Listen, going to a Parkinson's event is definitely important. I am a huge, huge fan of any sort of charitable event, and Parkinson's is such a big deal. So, of course, this is a big one, but everything with him feels so strategic these days. Sponsored. Why does he have to sponsor it? Why can't you just go to a Parkinson's event? Why does it have to be sponsored? See, now I don't like it anymore. Jennifer Garner, I'm looking at you. Look how Jennifer Garner likes his posts. Interesting. Why is Ed Sheeran on his page?
Getting, I think Wrexham are going to get promoted, and we're going to see each other next season.
Dream. Oh no, I'm not doing that. Wrexham. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The Wrexham trailer is out, you guys. Wrexham is coming to a TV show near you. Are you guys going to be able to watch Wrexham is the question this coming up season? Not me. Let's get into this jail story. Before I get into this jail story, we all do need a little bit of release of our mental health these days. So can I remind you guys that talking to people is very helpful, and we all need a therapist to get over our triggers with Ryan and Blake. So I would suggest talking to someone and using Rula. Finding the right mental health care should be simple and affordable, but for many it's not. There are long wait times, high costs, and difficulty finding the right provider. It can make getting help feel overwhelming, and that's where Rula comes in. Rula connects you with in-network licensed therapists that accept most major insurance. Their users typically have a copay of $15 per session, making therapy more accessible than ever. With a network of 15,000 licensed providers across 1,000 specialties, Rula also ensures that you get care tailored to your needs. You can also see a therapist in as little as 24 hours. So important if you're having a day and you're like, I need a therapist today. They got you covered. So you can get the support you need without financial stress. More than making financial therapy accessible and affordable for you, Rula stays with you throughout your journey, ensuring you're matched with the right provider and making real progress. Every therapist is carefully vetted, so you're in expert hands. Join the thousands who have already turned to Rula for support on their journey to better mental health and well-being. Getting started is easy. Just visit rula.com/dailydose. When you sign up, they're going to ask you how you heard about them. Please support our show by letting them know I sent you. It's a simple way to help us out while you take the first step towards the care you deserve. Go to rula.com/dailydose now and connect with a licensed therapist who truly cares. Start your mental health journey today. Your mental health matters. Thank you, Rula. All right. So, Without a Crystal Ball, Katie over at Without a Crystal Ball, who definitely was on in that Van Zandt lawsuit journey, has found another story that is really, really mind-blowing. And we need to get into it because I can't even, I'm not shocked and I'm not surprised, but it's so shocking that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively again are involved with another freaking case of doing something really shady to another person who was just doing their job. Okay, so there was a man who is a photographer. I have some photos that I screenshot from her video. So let me pull them up. I screenshot some of her photos from her video of some of the documents, but she has a whole video where she did this investigative reporting on this, all about it. But it's important that you guys kind of just recognize it's not necessarily even about what happened. It's more about the patterns in Blake and Ryan's behavior. That's the key here. What are the patterns? Why do they consistently have these patterns of behavior? And I think that this is going to be important because now watching the Karen Reed trial every day, and now that I'm essentially an attorney, I think what's important is that you can know that when you are looking at a suspect or a victim or someone that you're trying to kind of place blame on, in this case, if it does go to trial and a jury will look at it, just say with Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, what they're going to be presenting, what the defense and the prosecution will be presenting, is they're going to be presenting patterns of behavior. In the past, this is the kind of person they are. Here are examples of people on sets in the past who have said that this is their behavior. It may not necessarily be involved with this case specifically, but it's going to be witnesses of past behavior that's going to set the scene. It's going to kind of set who you are as a person. It may not necessarily be relevant to the case, but it will be relevant to who you are as a person. So, for example, in the trial that I'm watching with Karen Read, the witness on the stand right now, what is relevant is the fact that she's related to 15 members of, I'm being facetious, but like related to many members of the police department in the town that she is, involved in and the crime took place in. With Blake and Ryan, you're going to be interested to know that the agents, for example, who dropped Justin Baldoni are also the agents of Ryan, and he was friendly with them. Or, for example, what previous issues have they had with directors in the past? What previous issues have they had with cast members? Or have they ever had issues in the law? Have they ever sued anyone before? Have they ever had issues with sexual harassment or harassment? Versus, have you always gotten along well with coworkers? Have you ever had issues with your directors or with your co-stars, etc.? So that is going to be very important. In the past, Justin Baldoni, from all of these months that people have been able to come out and say, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I've worked with Justin Baldoni on blah, blah, blah. Not one person, as to my knowledge, has said, I've worked with Justin Baldoni and he made me feel incredibly uncomfortable on set, or he sexually harassed me, or he made advances on me, or he kissed me where I didn't want to be kissed, or he bit my lip, or he did. No one, as to my knowledge, has come out and said that he made sexual advances towards them unwanted. However, many people have come out and said that many people have come out and said, I have worked with Blake and Ryan in the past, or I have known Blake and Ryan in the past, or I have provided services to Blake and Ryan in the past, and they have treated me like shit, or they've been assholes, or they are known to be dicks, or they are da da da. So this is very important. That being said, apparently in 2015, there was a movie that Ryan was shooting. Let me show you. There was a movie that Ryan was shooting back in Vancouver. And I can't remember if the movie was called Captive. And apparently there is this story where there was a paparazzi named Richard William Fedek. So 2015, this is 10 years ago, exactly, pretty much. And this is the police report. Basically, Wilson, this is the police officer, was dispatched to a report of a hit and run on this specific street where Ryan Reynolds called to advise the police that he was struck by a vehicle from a member of the paparazzi. This police officer attended and obtained a video and statement from Reynolds, and then he forwarded to accident investigation. Now, in this first investigation, Reynolds and Blake, this is what it said in the first investigation. It basically said that Reynolds and Blake have recently been the victims of extortion in the United States. This is what Ryan Reynolds had said. When their daughter was born, someone took a photograph of them in the hours after she was born. This person threatened to release the first image of their daughter to the media unless Ryan paid him or her $50,000. I had no idea about any of this story, but apparently Ryan Reynolds had been the victim of extortion with his daughter's an image that his daughter took. I have no idea. Or an image of his baby daughter. Did you guys ever hear about that? I'd never heard about that. It said, as of yet, no image has ever been made public, and amongst paparazzi photographers, this is a very sought after photograph that would be worth a lot of money. Okay. That's just of note. Meanwhile, this guy, Richard Fedek, is a 52-year-old photographer who earns his living photographing celebrities and has come to be known as a local Vancouver paparazzi. So remember, this is his job. You may or may not care or like photographers or paparazzi. I don't love them. Who would? If you're a celebrity and there's like someone going like click, 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 as you know, Justin Bieber, right? It's very annoying to have a paparazzi or a guy in your face taking photos. I would imagine that would be very, very annoying. However, it's the job. And as you guys can see, they're really utilizing these photographers this week. They're all about these photographers this week. They're really needing those photographers this week. So you can't really get upset about it. But anyway, he's clearly a paparazzi. He's been known amongst those working in the film industry. Apparently, according to Ryan Reynolds, is very persistent and aggressive, who pushes his boundaries to get a photograph. He's gone to such an extreme to hire a helicopter. This is all according to Ryan, to hover above and disrupt a movie shoot. According to Ryan, it says he has 52 files in the police database, prime dating back to 2006, which involve a level of aggression. I haven't double checked any of this, but I would imagine, who knows if he does. Okay. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of the paparazzi have probably some police records, because I'm sure a lot of celebrities call police on them. It says his driving record is also relevant to this file. Since 2005, he has received 2 violation tickets for speeding, etc. So clearly he's like, they're trying to make it out like he is this crazy, crazy paparazzi and he drives like crazy. And then it says at approximately 6:40 p.m., Ryan Reynolds entered his secure parkade after a long day of work. So remember, they're in Vancouver and they're staying in a hotel or in like a apartment. He was by himself and driving the vehicle he always drives to get to and from work each day, which has dark tinted back windows. Shortly after passing through the gate, he observed the white Pontiac pull out of the stall so that it was perpendicular to his car and directly in front of him. He saw the driver looking at him. Although Reynolds did not recognize his vehicle, he immediately recognized the driver as Fedek. Reynolds was immediately alarmed for 2 reasons. First, he knew that Fedek did not live there, and he had managed to get into a secure underground parkade. And second, he was now essentially in his home. He felt that if Fedek was able to get into the parkade, he could easily find a way up into the residences where he and his wife and baby lived. As Fedek pulled out of his stall in front of Reynolds, Reynolds was now following Fedek. Reynolds parked in his designated spot, then walked down towards P6 to locate Fedek and get the license plate. Reynolds located him on P6, and upon seeing him, Fedek drove towards him at a high rate of speed. Reynolds stepped out of the way. Fedek continued to make his way back up through the parkade to the entrance gate. Reynolds cut through the pedestrian doorways, managed to make it up the gate to P4. Reynolds ran over to the car, positioned himself between the car and the gate as the gate started to open, and asked Fedek, "What are you doing here?" Fedek didn't respond but made direct eye contact with Reynolds and smiled. He applied the brakes only briefly before continuing to move his car forward. Move his car forward. And then it says the contact of the car's bumper with Reynolds caused his knee to hyperextend backwards before he realized Fedek was not stopping and he needed to get out of his way. Reynolds was forced briefly up onto the hood and rolled off the driver's side. So they got into like a little bit of a thing. It sounds like a little bit of a stunt. As a result of this incident, Reynolds sustained some minor injury to his lower left leg and lower back. Okay, so he gets injured. Reynolds believes that Fedek's key motivation in this incident was to see if his daughter James was in the car with him and get the first photograph of her to sell to the media. Then Ryan Reynolds writes another police report and basically says, about 3 minutes before this incident, I was driving my car into the secured underground parking of the residence at the Shangri-La Hotel. As I entered the gated area, I saw this man driving the Pontiac. I identified this man to be this guy, Richard. As I approached Richard's car, he appeared waiting. He drove forward. He hit me with the vehicle. So the story is a little bit differently. At the beginning, he says, I ran towards the vehicle. Now he says he drove forward and hit me with the vehicle. The stories don't exactly match up. They're going back and forth. It says, well, first you called him Rob. Now you're calling him Richard. And then he's saying, well, I looked him up online. He's been stalking me. He was there when I drove in. He found me. He says I was alone, and it's going back and forth. Now, I want to say something really fast. I am no way do I think that any of this is okay. If he is getting followed by this paparazzi, I think that's scary as hell. I would never in any way think that like a paparazzi should be running after a guy and running and driving into his parking lot and whatever. However, according to this paparazzi, he actually was staying at the hotel. He said, I had a key fob. I was living at the hotel as well. I had a room on the 6th floor. That's why there's no security issue with me being there. And I was not breaking and entering and, et cetera, et cetera. But he did get charged with criminal harassment. That was his accusations: assault with a weapon and dangerous operation of a motor vehicle. But the story doesn't end there, because then Blake Lively writes a letter. Okay. Blake Lively writes, one detail I'd like to elaborate on. She writes a whole letter to the police saying, is the aggressive behavior exhibited, and she wrote the behavior with OUR, which is an interesting, exhibited in Ontario in February of 2013. My husband was shooting a film there for 3 weeks. We were staying at the Radisson Hotel in Sudbury for the duration of our stay. Richard Fedek traveled to Sudbury and began to repeat similar patterns of stalking, intimidating, and terrorizing. I was so scared. I rarely left the premises of the hotel unless absolutely necessary. This didn't stop Mr. Fedek. On at least one occasion, he trespassed onto hotel property. He was not a registered guest, which he says he was, in order to obtain photos of us in the private outdoor courtyard. Upon learning of this, hotel staff were immediately notified and surveillance footage was viewed, indeed confirming Richard Fedek has snuck into the hotel in order to take photos. It's my hope and belief if the Radisson Hotel in Sudbury were contacted that they still possess this video footage. Once I discovered Fedek was now entering the hotel, I was in a panic. The hotel hired an additional security guard to patrol our floor and watch our room. She says these details can be confirmed by the manager of the Radisson Sudbury, but the photographer is saying that was not the case. I stayed in the hotel. No additional security guards were there. I was an actual hotel guest. She says having an additional hotel security guard wasn't much consolation, as I couldn't go anywhere. Local movie theater to see a film. As we arrived at the theater, and I'll show you guys the video in just a second. As we arrived at the theater, Richard Fedek was once again behind us. This time accompanied by several other men. I ran so fast from the car to the theater, I'd lost a glove. I remember they picked up the glove and taunted, "Come and get it, Blake." Fedek had parked his car immediately in front of us, trapping our car in the parking lot. Eventually, one of the men, I can't recall if it's Fedek himself, walked right up to our car and placed the glove on the hood of the car. Photos taken by Fedek included below. My husband wanted to get out and engage Fedek, but I talked him into staying in the car with me. Eventually, he got out, grabbed the glove, returned to the car, and we maneuvered our car around Fedek's and got ourselves out of the parking lot. He followed us all the way back to the hotel. At the completion of the film, he also followed us to Toronto. Rather than stay the week we planned, we left after a day because Fedek was now outside our hotel too. While shooting the film Age of Adeline in Vancouver. Okay, wait. So before I go into the next story of the Vancouver, I'm going to show you guys from Without a Crystal Ball. I'm going to show you guys her video, straight up her video of what happened, exactly what she said. Remember, she said we ran from the hotel. From the theater. We were very scared, she says. We were very scared. The gloves, they were taunting us with the gloves. He didn't want He was blocking our car. She said he was blocking our car. He was taunting us. We had to maneuver around his car. We were so scared. Okay. This is what actually happened. Stop sharing and let me share the actual video that Fedek took of the glove incident. This is her, Blake, and Ryan walking out of the theater.
How was the movie, Ryan? How was the movie? Blake, just so you know, I found your gloves on the side here. Your gloves are right here. Your gloves. Your gloves were. I could have kept them, you know. You're welcome. See you, Ryan.
Okay. So look, like I said, it's definitely a paparazzi in a theater in a small town in Canada. Yeah, it's annoying. Paparazzi are annoying. But did you guys feel threatened by that moment? Did you feel scared? Did he even feel like he was trapping them? He wasn't even in a car. He was standing there and he wasn't blocking them in at all. He didn't even have a car behind him. They were parked so that they could just drive right out. He was alone. He wasn't even with other people. He wasn't in any way trapping them. He was like, your gloves, they're your gloves. He said I could have kept them. Okay, so that was a little snarky, but that's it. Now, the next part of her story is that she says, she says that during the next time that he terrorized them was when they went and was shooting the film Age of Adeline in Vancouver, February through April of 2014. She says, I was almost constantly stalked and harassed by him. She said, I saw him in and out of bushes, parking garages, positioned himself on rooftops, any place he felt he gave a vantage point or could take photographs or both. She said, is that the last screenshot I took of it? Hold on. No, there's more. It's well documented in writing, she says, that she refused to do the film in Vancouver unless production hired an additional security person to take me to and from work every single day and remain with me at work. I was so concerned about Fedek that at the point was a deal breaker in my contract. I have numerous emails regarding this topic, which can be made available upon request. Despite the fact that I had a security person with me, I was so worried about Richard and his behavior that I rarely left the apartment I rented. I was pregnant at the time, which was even more concerning for me because it was my belief that it was only a matter of time before he caused a serious accident, harming an innocent bystander or my baby and I. I have numerous photos I've included below, which were taken by him at a close range and sold through either his own company or another party. And, you know, she keeps going on and on and on talking about how difficult it was. Okay. Well, Katie at Without a Crystal Ball, of course, does her research and talks to Richard and again finds out that, in fact, that can't be possible because the dates don't match up.
Safest option available was to stay in the hotel for the remainder of the trip. So here's the thing. He has evidence of this, that the day that she claimed this happened, he was on a mountain and he was doing photographs with Corey Moneth, who is now passed away. He starred in Glee, and he was doing snowboarding photographs of Corey on the hill at a mountain. Corey had asked him to come take photographs of him. And then those photographs were sold to the Daily Mail. An article about Corey was published to the Daily Mail. The same day, Fedek's competition is the one who saw Blake and Ryan at a market in Vancouver and was the one that saw them all around Vancouver. So Blake and Ryan did not just stay in their hotel. They went to outside markets. They went out to dinner. They took all kinds of they did events together throughout the entire time they were there. They weren't holed up in their hotel room. But he was not the one that did that, and he doubts that his competition did that either. But he didn't take those photos, and the photos were done by another company. And again, he was with Corey on top of a mountain. But the lengths that she went to try to paint this man like he's stalking her, trying to drive her off a road, and somehow she knows confidently this is him, but she says that Ryan got out of a car again and confronted another paparazzi. She talked about how he would be there at airports trying to stalk her. And then she also had some complaints about him on the set of Age of Adeline, which he said all of this is false too. While shooting the film Age of Adeline in Vancouver, February through April of 2014, I was almost constantly stalked and harassed by Richard Fedek. I saw him nearly every day that I worked.
So she goes on and on to talk about the fact that there's just inconsistencies about the dates. It doesn't really make sense. Now, another thing about it is that eventually the charges were dropped and it didn't, it didn't go anywhere. But they were going as far as trying to make it happen and really going as far as trying to ruin this man's career. And why?
And he approached him and told him to remove the photo from his before the film came out. And it was not a flattering photo of suit of you. And he said that early on.
Hold on, here's why.
And they used this to get a restraining order against him. And you know what I think is ironic here is that the case was eventually dropped, okay? And I asked him, what do you think set Ryan off? Like, why was he in such pursuit of you? And he said that early on when Deadpool started filming, he caught a photograph of Ryan in the Deadpool like face where, it's like that scarred up face. And it was before the film came out. And it was not a flattering photo of him. And he did not like the photograph of him. And he approached him and told him to remove the photo from his website. He didn't want the photo of him in the Deadpool face online. He didn't like it. Wasn't a good angle. And he was mad at him because he wouldn't remove the movie or remove that photo. He didn't like that he was taking photographs of them filming in public places. So when they were filming Deadpool, they were like filming on streets. They were filming in parks. They were filming in public areas. So anyone could be there to take photographs. And what they did was they conjured up this whole story because he put that photograph online of Ryan in that mask and then used it to drum up all of this danger so that his company could no longer take photographs on the set of Deadpool. That's really what this ultimately was about. At least that's Richard's take. The lengths that he went to try to destroy this man over a photograph is wild.
And so that's the kind of behavior that we keep seeing with Orion and Blake. It feels that kind of like pattern of behavior. Nothing that they're doing to Justin Baldoni should shock us because it feels like this is the kind of people that they are. I'll never forget that in the Justin Baldoni's FAC, the amended complaint, now I can't remember what F stands for, the amended complaint, when I was standing here on a Saturday, where so many of you guys probably found me doing my 5, 4, 6 hour live. I don't even remember how long that live was. It was the craziest live when we were going through every single page of that amended complaint. Remember that one line when he was talking to the agent and he was saying, when the agent said, Ryan Reynolds wants you to say this apology out loud, wants you to say this apology and say that you are responsible. Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni are responsible for everything that went wrong on that film. And Jamie Heath and Jen Abel, whoever was on the call, was like, no, why would we ever do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why should we do that? And your response was, the agent's response was like, well, this is a typical Blake and Ryan move. This is something that Blake and Ryan do. Never forget, this is who Blake and Ryan are. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And also, never forget that at the end of the day, I saw a TikTok of Ryan Reynolds last night that made me want to jump off a cliff. And I say that in a really honest way because I truly thought I was going to die when I saw it. I was like, no one can be this annoying ever in the history of America. And sure enough, Ryan Reynolds is that person. I will show it to you guys and then we'll have to move on because we have to talk about some other things. But this is truly, he's quite possibly the most annoying person in the history of America. And it is him on the red carpet of the Another Simple Favor premiere the other night. And Blake Lively is standing there with her entire family. And he decides that he needs to take a picture of Blake. He needs to pretend that he is the celebrity, the paparazzi. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'll show it to you. I posted it on my stories. I don't even know how to find it, like in the original, but I'll show you guys on my stories. And it's quite possibly the most annoying moment I've ever seen of Ryan Reynolds. And that's saying a lot because we've seen a lot, but just have a moment here. Okay, here we go.
Blake, over here. Blake, please, come on. One more, God.
One more time. Favors. I believe.
Blake, over here. Blake, please, come on. One more, God.
And the paparazzis that are in the background being like, that's the reason that we're never going to lose Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively because people will always laugh at his stupid, stupid jokes. His stupid, stupid jokes. Let's move on to Karen Read. Now, Karen Read, right now, Jen McCabe is on the stand still getting cross-examined. And we're not watching it. And it's killing me because I'd rather be, I'm happy to be here with you guys, but I need to know what's going on there. But I'm going to tell you what happened this morning. Okay. Once again, I did an entire 30-minute refresher episode, members only and Patreon. So please, please, please go on over there and subscribe and listen. It's worth it. But today, Jen McCabe is on the stand. Jen McCabe is the puppet master of the cover up. Okay. If you think she's not, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Then go and join Not Skinny But Not Fat with Blake Lively. Okay. That's what I can tell you. I believe that she is the puppet master. She's connected to everyone. It was her sister's house that the murder happened. Her sister's married to Brian Albert, who's part of the Canton and Boston Police Department. All of the family was there. Okay. She was handed a White Claw. She decided not to drink it. The stories are changing. I got a lot of stories from ChatGPT about how her testimony has already changed from yesterday and today. It's a lot, okay? Her testimony has changed. We've got a lot of changes. But today's testimony is all about Alan Jackson getting some inconsistencies out of her. And we've already gotten some inconsistencies. And here is a clip. Anne-Marie says my accent is getting better. I'm working on it. Okay. Here's a clip of one moment where I thought was such a tell. And this is the casting director in me. The casting director in me where I'm like, I can spot a liar. I can spot a liar. I see a liar. And trust me, you guys, Lance is going off today. Lance is leaving tonight. Bye, Lance. He's leaving for 27 days to go shoot Bachelor in Paradise. Every time I talk to him on FaceTime, I'm going to be like, what are you doing? You're on trial now. Okay. I'm a defense attorney. I can tell you, what are you doing over there in Bachelor in Paradise? Who you hanging out with? That's what I'm going to do. Don't you worry. I'm going to learn everything. Okay. Check this out. This is a clip of Jen McCabe ruining it because she's talking about how she's chatting with Carrie Roberts. Carrie Roberts is another one of the girls who they were the two girls that Karen Read called morning of the murder. or the morning after, and she was like, I can't find John O'Keefe. I can't find him. Oh my God. Oh my God. And they get together in the cars and they're driving around town in the blizzard looking for John O'Keefe. They're driving. It's a whiteout. It's a whiteout. I guess that's what happens in the East Coast. It doesn't happen here in Los Angeles, right? It's a whiteout. The only whiteout we have is in Jax Taylor's nose. It's a whiteout. You're driving around. Can't find. They drive to 34 Fairview, finally, which happens to be where they were all at the night before, happens to be Jen McCabe's sister's house. Weird. You're going around everywhere. You're calling all the people. You don't call your sister, whose house you were at the night before, where John O'Keefe was supposedly dropped off. You don't call her and say, hey, is John O'Keefe passed out on your couch? No. That would be crazy. You're calling everyone in town, but you're not calling your sister? That's suspicious. Okay, now they're talking about the fact that she and Carrie Roberts, this other woman who she wasn't close with at all before this night, are now on the phone all the time. All the time. Why are they on the phone all the time? I think it's because they have to make sure their stories are straight. But she says, we don't have stories. We don't have stories. We're just talking in, just because we went through a traumatic experience together. This is her first tell that I think she was a little lie.
Paired by definition what she remembers versus what you remember, correct?
I wouldn't say compare.
Now let's move to what would you say in terms of what you've discussed and why?
I would say that we've both talked about what we've discussed, but it wasn't like a comparison. We weren't comparing anything.
You've talked about what you discussed. What does that mean? Talked about your testimony?
No, we've discussed what happened that moment,
right,
and in those moments. So, when I got a phone call, and that's my story. I got a phone call in the morning, and then Carrie can say, yeah, I got a phone call as well.
As you said, that's your story, correct?
Not my story. It's
Those
the
were
truth.
yours.
It's the truth.
Okay. So, for instance, when you got a phone call at 4:53.
Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch that? We can say that's my story, and then, we can say, I didn't say the story. What? That's my truth. What? I didn't say that. I'm sorry, what? You got a little bit caught there. Now, check this out. You want to talk about a corrupt judge, Auntie Bev. The reason why we say Aunt Bev is because a lot of the witnesses, a lot of people involved, their kids called Bev, the judge, Aunt Bev. The judge is like very in with a lot of the people involved in this case. All right? She has a very strong sense of compassion for everyone that's not on Karen Read's side. She really has a strong sense of compassion for Miss Jen McCabe. Have you ever heard a judge say this ever in a trial? I've never seen this. Check this out.
When Miss Read's private investigator showed up, we just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming, because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful in making sure that the stories she tells are consistent with the stories you tell to different law enforcement agencies, correct?
No, we are not telling stories.
So let her finish. You said no what?
I said, no, we're not telling stories. We don't have to compare.
And if in fact what you were telling was just the truth, there would be no reason for you to inquire about who's contacted her when. There'd be no reason.
There's no inquiring. It's like when when the ice cream truck was at the street next door and I'm saying, did the ice cream truck come? It's really that simple.
So you asked a question.
Not about an ice cream truck.
An argumentative question, and she responded in kind. Next question.
Thank you.
The judge says in front of a jury to the cross-examiner, to the defense, you asked an argumentative question and she responded in kind. She's like, no, we're not exchanging stories. We're just like talking like, You know, when you're a kid and you say that the ice cream truck is coming and you tell your friend, an ice cream truck is on the street. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm becoming someone bring Ben Affleck over here. I'm moving into the town. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, a couple other things. She lied on the stand. She said, and this we didn't know in the last trial, that the FBI came to her, called her the FBI came to her door or came to her car and said, "Are you the homeowner?" This was early on, right after the death, and said, "Are you the homeowner?" She goes, "No, I'm not." She said she was her sister. So she said she thought they were selling her something. Okay, fine. You can get away with that. If she thought it was a solicitor. Then 10 minutes later, she gets a phone call, or like right when she got inside, she gets a phone call and she's like, "We're actually calling from the FBI. Can we come in and speak to you?" And she said, "Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, they knock on the door. They come inside. In this small interview, they come to her and they say, "Have you made any phone calls? Have you spoken to anyone since we called you and said, we're coming to your door and speaking to you?" And she said, "Yes, I've made 2 phone calls." They said, "Who have you called?" She said, "I called my husband, Matt McCabe, and I called Carrie Roberts, who's this other woman that she's exchanging her truth with, who's talking about like with the ice cream story, right? That's it. I called Matt McCabe and I called Carrie Roberts." She spoke to these people, the FBI, for just a very, very short amount of time. And then Matt McCabe, her husband, called and said, "Quit the meeting. Like, I'm coming home." She ends the meeting, sends them on their merry way. Matt McCabe comes home and he says, what did you tell them? Whatever. And she explains to them exactly what she explains to her husband exactly what she says, including, "I lied." She tells her husband, "I didn't tell them that I didn't only make 2 phone calls or that I only made 2 phone calls. I didn't tell them that I made 3 more phone calls in the 5 minutes, 10 minutes between the phone call that they said I'm coming and then the knock on the door that they came." And the husband was like, "Why did you lie?" And she goes, "I don't know." And so she calls the FBI back, probably because her husband told her to. And she goes, "Oh, whoops, I forgot. I forgot that I also called in those 10 minutes. I also called Peggy O'Keefe," that's John O'Keefe's mom, the DA, her witness protector or whatever, the person who, the witness guide or whatever, and Brian Albert, the owner of the house, also a Canton Police Department guy, her brother-in-law. She just left those 3 calls out. She tells the FBI, "Whoops, I forgot. I forgot." So on the stand, our lovely Alan Jackson says, "So when you were talking to the FBI, they specifically said that you cannot lie in this meeting. Everything you tell us needs to be 100% the truth." She goes, "Yes." And he goes, "So when you told them that you only made 2 phone calls, did you lie?" She goes, "No." He goes, "But did you make more than 2 phone calls?" She goes, "Yes." And he goes, "So you only told them you made 2 phone calls?" She goes, "Yes." And he goes, "So did you lie?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "But you did make more than 2 phone calls?" She goes, "Yes. I forgot." This woman is such a proven liar. She's lied to the FBI. Carrie Roberts the other day lied on the stand. If you're not seeing right through the fact, if you're telling the truth, you will not be constantly caught in lies. There's nothing more to be said. Done. Done. They're lying. Finally, and then this is the most important. Well, I mean, the most important thing is, why wouldn't you call your sister? If you know that the guy who was supposed to be dropped off at your sister's house never came home the night before, you would call your sister. Then you go to your sister's house, you find the body on the lawn, you would call your sister from outside being like, "I'm outside your house. Come outside. The cops are outside your house." Or you would run to your sister's front door, knock on the door and say, "The cops are here. Do you have a first aid kit?" Oh my God. Her husband, who is sleeping right upstairs, their bedroom is right upstairs, is a cop. He's a freaking cop for 20 freaking years. You'd be like, "Come outside. We have a dead body on the lawn." She goes upstairs. She's like, I'm nervous to wake them up. Guess who's missing? The dog. Where's the dog? Oh, you mean the dog that ripped up John O'Keefe's arm? Oh, yeah, he was covered in dog bites. Missing. That 70-some pound German Shepherd, Chloe, gone. Where is he? She's not there the next morning. That's because they weren't sleeping upstairs. That's because the dog wasn't around. Because the dog bit the shit out of the guy the night before, and no one was sleeping the next morning because they were hiding, pretending to be sleeping because they just killed a man. All of this craziness, screaming, yelling, cops screaming are right outside your window, and you're like, na na na, na na na, na 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 na. Bullshit. You're a cop and you can sleep like that? Give me some of what you got. This is not only 2 hours after all the 17 butt dials they just had. We're not even at the butt dials. That's going to be good. This is an amazing, amazing case. Get on it. Where do I go now? Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Okay. I can't wait to watch the rest of it, and then we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Oh, I missed this. Danny girl, shout out to the mods and all they do is a member for 9 months. Welcome. Nikki is a new member. I hope you're listening to the Karen Read update today. And Crystal says, Donna, spelling behavior with a U is the Canadian way of spelling the word. It's possible that a Canadian was transcribing her letter or Ryan Reynolds wrote it. Like he writes all of her shit, including the dragon text. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, last night, my final story is the Valley. I'm going to say something, and I'm embarrassed to say it out loud. Jax Taylor needs to be back on the show. Jax Taylor needs to be back on the show because last night was hard to watch. It was not so good. I don't want to spend my night at Dave & Buster's. Sorry. I go to Dave & Buster's for my kids. I find Janet on the Valley to be like a little child. She is like a kid, excited about playing these stupid games and winning stupid prizes at Dave & Buster's. Jax Taylor is the worst. He's horrendous. He's awful. But the show itself is so, like, it's just, I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit. Michelle and Jesse obviously have a very toxic relationship. Michelle is crying the entire episode at Dave & Buster's. There was one funny moment at the Dave & Buster's scene when they're going back and forth between Michelle hysterically crying over Jesse making up a rumor that she's a hooker, and Jesse and I'm sorry, Janet being like, yes, I'm winning 14 more tickets. And then Michelle being like, my life is over. And Janet being like, there's no crying at Dave & Buster's. So that was kind of a fun little moment. But Janet and Jason are just too normal and boring for the show, if you know what I mean. Jesse and Michelle are just so effed. And apparently Jesse has $0. According to the after show, he's broke, has absolutely no money. And he's all in debt. And it's all bullshit. He's one of those guys that has no money but goes to Craig's every night, which is wild. I mean, I think that's half of LA, to be honest. So many people I know live on credit cards. But Michelle is very hard for me too. There's a part of me that feels bad for Jesse because even though he doesn't seem like the nicest guy, she did cheat on him multiple times. Like she kind of did end that marriage, but she blames it on him. Well, he didn't love me and he didn't treat me good and he didn't do anything and he didn't. And I'm like, but you also cheated on him. Like it wasn't like Michelle was like such a fantastic wife to him either. I'm not trying to blame her, but like it doesn't feel like a very healthy relationship. I just think they both suck. Yeah. Feels like they just both suck, right? Brittany bringing up the story to Michelle and throwing what's his name, little Danny Bucco under the bus for sharing the thing that happened on the guys text. What happens on the boys chat doesn't get out of the boys chat. Like throw me off a cliff with this boring boys chat, like Fight Club bullshit. That felt very produced. They were like, we need drama. Brittany, you need to tell Michelle. Because I don't think Brittany would ever go and run and tell Michelle that. Like, why would she ever choose to tell Michelle that story and ruin Michelle's night? It didn't make any sense. The only reason Brittany ran and told the only reason Brittany ran to tell Michelle that Jesse made up that stupid hooker story and told the boys that in the chat was so that we had that crying scene. It felt very produced. And it gave Brittany like a little bit of a story in last night's episode, but I felt like it was kind of pointless. Now, Brittany was on Watch What Happens Live separately. You guys, it's out of control. I'm going to say something, and this is really, truly, I promise you, this is not fat shaming or anything. This is boob shaming. We need to have an intervention, and she needs to get those implants removed. They're growing. Can implants grow? Something needs to happen. We need to take out Brittany Cartwright's implants. We need to sit down and have an intervention. Just like they tried to have an intervention with Jax Taylor, we need a boob intervention. We need an implant intervention. Bad. Now. They're taking over her face. They're everywhere. And she's also getting massive plastic surgery. She doesn't look the same. And it's overwhelming. It's like so much. She looks so much better in the scenes where she's just no makeup and just hair back or whatever. When she has all the makeup on and the lips and the hair and the boobs, it's like it's too much. I don't know what that's for or if she likes it for herself, but I feel like she looks so much prettier when she's just like in a more just like natural state. So she needs to take everything down a notch. But maybe because Jax says that he really likes that kind of body. So maybe she's just like still holding on to that. I have no idea what's going on. I really hope she takes it down a notch because it doesn't look healthy and it doesn't look, it looks painful, honestly. I mean, I'm the itty bitty committee, but I couldn't imagine carrying that much boob. It's got to be painful. She mentioned that Jax is a 3 or a 4 in bed. He's sometimes a 7. And people were shocked about this. And actually, I was really disappointed because in someone's comments, I think it was Bravo Breaking News, they posted something on Instagram, and in their comments, they were like, this is so disappointing. This is so classless. And I'm like, are we still there? Are we still hoping that we're going to get class out of Brittany and Jax? Like, I thought we're way past that. Like, we're in Kentucky. Like, we are, no offense to Kentucky, but like, this is the level that we're in. We're like, literally, we're not like, in the castle here. Oh, they got married in a castle, but like we are definitely not assuming that we're getting like royal behavior from Jax and Brittany. Like we are past that. We're talking about cocaine. We're talking about like, thongs and baby wipes. We're past class. So let Brittany make Jax feel bad in bed. Like you can't hit him harder than making Jax feel worse. Like Jax can't feel worse than thinking that he's bad in bed, right? Like that's the worst he can feel. So go for it. I am very okay with that. And for that, I say good. Danny and Nia on the Valley. Danny needs to take it down a notch too, because I feel like Danny is like, hey, hey. Does anyone else feel that way when you watch Danny on the Valley? He's like, hey, I'm a reality star. I'm like, you didn't do that last season, but I don't know what it is, but we got to stop. It's feeling way too overwhelming. He's like, I love my life. It's too much. And he's a cartoon. What else? Michelle's boyfriend is creepy as fuck and now I learned he makes honey. I don't want to know about his honey business and his ventures. Hi, Michelle. Here's my honey. Lick it off me. Weird. Kristen Doute's the most normal person. But Kristen Doute's man, what's his name? Luke? Luke finally looked good in one of his confessionals. I'm sorry, I don't find Luke attractive. But in one of his confessionals yesterday, he looked handsome. So whatever he did in that confessional, I don't know if it was his hair, I don't know if it was facial. There was something going on in one of those scenes in the confessional. I was like, that's a good look. They need to keep it coiffed and groomed in that way. But in the other scenes, he looks so like hardy har har. I guess that's it. I have so many other stories, but the show has gotten long. I love you guys. Let's chat mañana. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll see you guys then. Appreciate you. Daily Dose of Donna. Dosers Live tickets are on sale in the morning. Bye, y'all.